Hello, I'm Amy Glowacki, Park Ranger at Springfield Armory National Historic Site and Coltsville National Historical Park. Welcome to Firearm Friday. I hope this day finds you healthy and safe. Now, today, we're going to take a look at the highly collectible Colt 1851 Navy. There were over 250,000 produced from 1851 to 1873 in Hartford and for a brief time in London. It's a 6-shot, 36 caliber percussion revolver. Colt Navies, they were used by both the British and the Russians in the Crimean War. The Texas Rangers carried them, and both soldiers and officers from the North and the South in the U.S. Civil War also had Colt Navies. And this firearm, so it was originally developed, produced, and marketed at the direction of Samuel Colt himself before his death in 1862. So unlike other Colt perennials such as the Peacemaker Single Action Armory or the Python or the M 1911, the Navy has a direct link to Samuel Colt, and that is very cool. So anyone who holds an 1851 Navy, you can't help but be awed by its beauty. And it's not just how it feels in your hands, but its features, like the W.L. Ormsby engraving on the barrel. It's just gorgeous. And the scene, it depicts the 1843 Battle of Campeche Bay. And so that was between the Texas and the Mexican navies. So perhaps it's giving a little nod to Texas and attempt to influence potential customers. So in my quest to learn more about Samuel Colt and the nuances of the 1851 Navy, I grabbed, of course, my iPhone. And when I started doing my research, I was struck by the parallels of the creations of Samuel Colt and Steve Jobs. These men were working 150 years apart, but they both crafted objects of utility into beauty to market. And it also made me think of John Keats and his 1818 poem Endymion, where he says, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." And so both Colt and Jobs, they crafted revolutionary products of function that bring sheer joy through their beauty. And it creates a type of synergy that results in Beautility. In designing the 1851 Navy, so Colt combined the best of 3 previous revolvers to create this lighter, more accurate, quality product with interchangeable parts, and it was light enough to be carried on one's hip. Steve Jobs, with his Apple iPhone, he combined the functions of music, phone, email, and web into one quality product that was light enough and small enough to fit in one's pocket. The iPhones, they're available in many colors. So you'll find them in silver, gold, rose, red, black, blue. And the external cases, they can be personalized to reflect almost any interest that the owner has. And Colt firearms, they were often custom engraved, and they were presented in wooden display cases as they were gifted to kings or princes. Colt Navies, they could be personally engraved, as could the iPhone. And both Colt and Jobs, they mastered celebrity endorsements. So they were able to work their objects, work their products into popular culture. While Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane both carried Colt Navies. While we know that Taylor Swift and The Rock prefer their iPhones. Charles Dickens once toured the factory in London, and he was invited to fire the Navy. And when he fired it, he stated that, "After a little practice, I find that the mere novice may with one hand disengage 6 rounds as rapidly as the eye can wink." While Oprah Winfrey, once gifted her audience in her familiar way, you get an iPhone and you get an iPhone and you get an iPhone. And she also provided some free publicity when she replaced the iPhone of a student who shared a selfie with her while she joked about his cracked screen. In unveiling his 1851 Navy, Colt did so in a very grand way. He was at the Great Exhibition in London at the Crystal Palace, and millions saw his display of pistols. But he also had a chance to demonstrate interchangeable parts. So what he did is he took several revolvers, disassembled, and reassembled them with the shuffled parts. He also spent time lecturing at the Institute of Civil Engineers, and all of this attention brought in thousands of orders that resulted in him opening a factory in London. Steve Jobs, when he unveiled his iPhone, he did so as a keynote speaker at one of the biggest Mac events of the year, at the Macworld and Expo of 2007. The event had over 350 companies, and it had educational sessions going on. And at that time, not only did Steve Jobs unveil the iPhone, but he also unveiled the new name of the company. It was no longer Apple Computer. It was now just Apple, to reflect on the focus of the user experience instead of the technology behind it. And so, looking at the beautility of the life work of both Samuel Colt and Steve Jobs, it reminds us that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness. I want to thank you for joining us. If you have questions, comments, concerns, or recommendations, please leave them in the comments. We look forward to you joining us next week for another edition of Firearm Friday. And in the meantime, be safe, be healthy, and we hope to see you in person soon. Thank you.